The Silver Surfer, a victim of something I'd like to call cosmic depression. Someone who operates on a scale so large that they sometimes forget about the little people and little problems. Someone who has been the death of billions, but has also been the hero of billions. Someone who is so immensely powerful, but is still forced to do the will and ways of a greater force above him. Someone who is an emotionless and morally ambiguous shell of his former self. This is the life of the Silver Surfer. But it always wasn't this way. Norman Rad, a young man from the planet Zinla. Now Zinla was basically a utopia. No crime, no disease, no famine, no war, nothing. Only success and prosperity. But even this society didn't come without its own problems. Because everything was perfect on the planet Zinla, people had idle time and were directionless in life. One such person like this was Norman Rad's mother, Elmore Rad. Fed up with her ambitionless life, she decided to take her own, leaving young Norman without a mother at a very young age. After this, he was raised by his oppositely ambition-filled father into a childhood and life of an intellectual youth. But tragedy strikes again when his own father takes his life, after it being revealed that he stole an idea from another scientist, passing it on as his own. Even considering his tragic upbringing, he managed to find a glimpse of happiness in his life through his lifetime lover, Shala Bal. But even with her, Norman eventually grew into a restless soul who longed for challenge and struggle on the perfect utopia, Zinla. So he immersed himself in his planet's history of adventurous past. But Norman's life changed forever when a menacing entity showed up at the planet one day, Galactus. So Norman convinced a group of scientists to give him a ship so he can go confront this being. But Galactus was bent on consuming Zinla, so he struck a deal with the World Eater to save not only his people but his home. A deal to become the herald of Galactus, leaving the love of his life in a utopian society where he will want for nothing behind. To become a cosmic slave, forever destined to find planets, with people, entire civilizations and history for Galactus to consume and wipe off the face of the universe. Now, reborn as a Silver Surfer in a sleek silver metallic design that Galactus took from his mind from a fantasy he had as a child. He took and upheld his duty for finding high energy planets for Galactus for nearly a century. But over time it became difficult for the Silver Surfer to find energy rich planets that weren't gleaming with sentient life. The Silver Surfer still had a duty and job to uphold though, so then he turned to life-filled planets. But the destruction of the first inhabited planet he offered to Galactus almost drove him insane, forcing Galactus to alter the mind of his herald, submerging his emotions and repressing his past memories, leaving him as a husk of his former self, and most of the good and noble that he was capable of, and more of a herald of the destroyer of worlds. As a result, the Surfer became much more willing to lead Galactus to inhabited worlds, and billions suffered and met their demise because of it. The Silver Surfer was originally created and drawn by the late Jack Kirby, but the real meat and potatoes of the Surfer came from Stan Lee's characterization of him. He was this philosophical traveler of the cosmos who came from a perfect life but had a bigger purpose now under the big G. Stan also went on record saying how he used the Surfer to share and publicize his own views and philosophy, such as the time Norrin first came to Earth and seeing how the planet had all humans could ever want for: water, tons of space, sunlight, clean air, fruits and veggies of every size and color. But humans always fought, hated, and stole from each other. So with the realization that humans tend to unite and help each other out when they have a common enemy, Norrin gets fed up and decides to become our worst enemy for the betterment of humanity. But after getting humbled by Mr. Fantastic and getting his suppressed emotions and memories back, he decides to become a helper and hero rather than a slave and scouter for the destroyer of worlds. But still, even now with regaining his own consciousness back, he has to deal with the consequences of knowing how much suffering he's brought upon the universe and the lives he affected. One of the most powerful men in the universe, yet is still a slave and alone. Even though the Surfer is freed from Galactus nowadays more times than not, he is still on an endless search for meaning. Throughout his cosmic travels, the Surfer often struggled with existential crisis, feeling lost and searching for a deeper purpose. The constant struggle of longing and lack of fulfillment added to his sorrow. And I have yet to mention why he was even on Earth in the first place. He was betrayed by Galactus. Galactus trapped the hero on Earth, after with the help of the heroes, denied Galactus the planet. Now eventually he was obviously able to get out, but still, His betrayal and losing his only meaning in life now as a herald and servant, now being betrayed and left, which brings him to his constant struggle for redemption. Now with his freedom and conscience and emotions back, the Surfer constantly sought redemption for his past deeds and attempts to use his cosmic powers for the betterment of others. However, his efforts often brought him into conflict with powerful cosmic entities and left him feeling hopeless and trapped in a cycle of despair. He also deals with the external nature of his existence. The Surfer's immortality and inability to die brought its own form of sorrow. He was condemned to an eternal existence, watching civilizations rise and fall, while he remained burdened by his cosmic duties and weight of his past, and cursed with cosmic awareness and the profound understanding of the universe's vastness. It often leaves him to existential despair. The insignificance of individual lives and the cosmic scale of suffering deeply affects him. And knowing, with all of his profound power, thanks to the power cosmic, he still can't be everywhere all at once. There's still people he will never be able to save and make up from the trillions of lives lost during his times as being a herald of Galactus.